Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pizza, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Before we begin, if any of you have questions regarding the discussion, don't hesitate to send them to us by entering it in this comment sections of whatever social media platform you're watching this on, and I will be here to relay them to our guest speaker. Welcome to the live webinar series of ESME, an e-learning marketplace for Filipino professionals where one can develop relevant and in-demand skills through master classes in different fields of learning. If you want to learn more about us, feel free to visit our page at www.esme.ph. For those who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, feel free to share the link to this stream to people who you think will be interested in today's topic. We are inviting everyone to join us in our live learning series where seasoned experts, such as our speaker for today, in various fields from agriculture and business to marketing to futures thinking to relationships to health and fitness and many more, help you develop your skills and advance both in your personal life and in your career. If you're interested in learning more about the live learning series, head on over to our website. Again, that's www.esme.ph and click on the live learning series tab. We hope that you can join us. Okay. Now, the webinar is a session on identifying stressors in the workplace and strengthening coping mechanisms in the time of pandemic, such as now, especially during these times when there's a lot of reasons to be stressed, whether at home, school, or in the workplace. And it's very important that you know how to handle stress in a healthy way. I will introduce now our speaker for today is the head of the Wellness Center for Makati Medical Center. I know that almost everyone knows her and we adore her so much. She specializes in occupational medicine. She also worked as a consultant at the World Health Organization, Western Pacific region, Philippines for 8 years. She served 4 years as the Chief Medical Officer of the Global Telehealth Incorporated. She's also a breast cancer survivor and advocate, serving as the Philippine leader for Livestrong Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome our speaker, Dr. Gia Sison.
Hello, Pizza,
Hello po. Good
and
afternoon.
hello to everyone. And thank you to Esme for inviting me on this Sunday Live webinar series tackling an important aspect in our lives.
Yes, we are very thrilled po to have you here. Thank you so much po for giving us your
Thanks,
time.
Pizza. Thank you. Hello to everyone who's watching
Yes. Kamusta
there.
po kayo today, Doc?
Super init.
Oo nga po, hindi naman po naririnig yung aircon.
Super init. But hoping, yeah, I'd like to say that these past days have all, anyway, these past months, every day has been always about coping and thriving. So,
Yes.
yun, I think that's the best word that I can use to describe how I feel.
Okay po. Without
How
further
about you,
ado,
Pizza? How are you?
I'm the same po, naiinitan na rin po ako. But
Sige,
I'm
sige.
very, very
Okay.
excited to learn from you po and to hear from you today. Kaya
Okay.
sobrang...
Okay,
Yes po.
so let's do this.
Yes po.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll be talking about managing workplace stress in a time of pandemic. Okay, so later on, please feel free to share your coping style so that we also learn from each other. So in workplace wellness, we actually encourage workplaces that allow both employers and employees and everyone else to flourish, meaning to say to grow. Aside from career ladders, we encourage them um, feelings of wellness as well. Now, this is the PERMA theory of well-being. This is, of course, just a disclaimer. This is not toxic positivity. This is actually parang guided tips on how we can actually cope when we feel those difficult feelings. There is positive emotions, but of course, that's a balance between recognizing negative emotions as well. We have engagement in terms of finding our flow in the way we work, building more positive relationships, finding meaning, and of course, a sense of accomplishment. Next slide. Okay, so when we talk about health in general and also about mental health, there will always be a biological part, a social part, and a psychological part. So ano siya, it has to be all in congruence, and those are the three main components. That's right. So this is six amongst a lot of concerns of specifically mental health concerns during the time of COVID, no? And it's still ongoing now. So there definitely uncertainty is there as we speak. We still don't know when will this end. There are still increasing cases, thus resulting to heightened emotions. Of course, quarantines they have added effects of isolation and loneliness. It has altered our grieving process because we all know that COVID is an isolated disease, no? And we have witnessed families who cannot get really together, physically together to grieve. Um, there have been a lot of barriers, most especially in access to care for the past months. Increased for women. Sometimes they have increased household work and childcare, and sobrang extra yung nararamdaman nating amplification of social divides. So we're not only talking about health, but we're also talking about the economy. So madami pa yan, no? But these have been the most common issues that we have encountered. Next slide. So there was a study made by the Philippine Business College for Women Empowerment last May 2020. And they made a study on the impact to employment. And based on their study, um, over 60% of the workforce has begun working from home. No, and when you look at the graph on your right side, they feel that they are most of them feel that they're just equally productive. So, but there have been feeling of I'm not as productive. Next slide. And then they also study the effects to mental health. And based on their study, 48% of women and 39% of men reported a negative impact. And bakit, no? They identified six possible effect, no? And number one, of course, is the financial concern. Financial concern. Next would be, of course, physical health, mental health, work performance, family pressures, and time management. Kasi nga, everyone is working from home. All the boundaries also have been blurred. Next slide. So when you look at this whole slide, I won't go through them one by one na lang, but to your left side are the components in the workplace, like how the job is designed, how your team relates to each other, and organizational factors. Now, when you put them all together, plus the home or conflicting demands from home, individual, biopsychosocial factors, they all lead to mental health and well being. So, oftentimes, mental health problems are complex. So, we have to look at it from that point of view. And it oftentimes is a mixture between what we do professionally and our personal lives as well. Next slide. So on this slide, it also indicates ano ba yung impact ng mental health problems from an employer standpoint and the employees. All in all, if I summarize this, it really is about how we work and how we are as individuals. There is a reduced quality of life. And of course, I have mentioned this earlier, there is an economic effect. And what we don't want to happen really is um, more stigma and discrimination. We want to eliminate that. No? aim for zero, ika nga sa mental health advocacy. So next slide. The WHO also has published this service delivery pyramid in terms of mental health. And I just want you to focus on the bottom of it, which is self-care. We all have to realize that it really starts from within and how we take care of ourselves. And all throughout the pyramid, from the informal community care, from primary mental health services up to the tertiary level, self-care is very, very important. And it's something that we should practice all throughout. That's right. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the question is talking about workplaces. How do we actually redefine employee engagement? Because for the past year, what we have noticed from a good end naman, employers and workplaces have already been giving more attention to mental health and the mental health losses, and it's very heavy in terms of implementing the mental health law in the workplaces. And so when we redefine employee engagement, we oftentimes have these four pillars. What are those pillars? Open communication, proactive strengthening of access to supports. So let's not wait for incident reports to happen, etc. We have to be proactive to be able to um, provide support networks for our employees and all of us. And we have to start to humanize workplaces, meaning to say we have to have this mindset also of flexible accommodations. And don't forget, as mentioned earlier, really mental health concerns are complex. Again, it's a mixture of both personal and professional lives. And we have to destigmatize seeking help because, again, we all need help at one point in our lives. Next slide. Okay, next slide, please. So here are the six domains of mental health interventions. I mentioned earlier the components like job design, individual factors, and from an organizational standpoint. And when you look at this um, here, here are some ways where we can actually put some action into those job factors. And this actually covers the whole spectrum from the healthy worker to a worker that is experiencing challenges. So, next slide. So, job design really matters. No? We really have to design it or co-create it, if I may use that term, in a way that it manages work and minimizes harm at the same time. So, how do we do that? Of course, the pandemic has taught us a lot, and of course, we all know that the main mode of transmission of the disease is physical contact. So we have to encourage flexible work. We really have to extra engage our employees. Dito, kailangan lahat involved sa decision. And for those naman who are work from site, diba? Kasi may mga industries that are really needed on the front lines. We try our best to ensure that their physical working environment is safe. Next slide. And we also have to start to address work organization. And the components under this is effort reward balance. Again, I cannot underestimate the need for an effective communication. There has to be that frequent communication with each other on what's going on, what's the plan, etc. Assess and reassess job roles. Because the least that we want to happen now is job ambiguity, where we really don't know what to do, because it's difficult enough that we're trying our best to make do with what we have now. review the work environment, and of course, to clarify organizational structure and practice. Next slide. And let's all promote a workplace where it is psychologically safe. In a psychologically safe space, um, this means that this is actually a shared belief that the team is safe for interpersonal risk taking. Trust, I believe, is really important when it comes to building um, that homey feel in the workplace. We really have to trust each other. That's right. And this is how psychological safety is. No? Psychologically, safety means nothing you say or do will be used against you as long as you mean well. So babalik na rin natin that you're guilty. Parang guilty ka na as ipoprove na lang. When you are in a psychologically safe space, you are at your best. Something like that. Um, ito yung mga typical mindset if you are cynical, benefit of the doubt, and charitable. In a psychologically safe space, it's more on the charitable side, meaning that I'm going to assume the best until proven otherwise. And in the workplace, it's very important that, so we look at it on a holistic standpoint, and then individual job factors, and of course, the individual as the employee. We also have to be more proactive in helping. No, we're not saying that we are responsible for our workers' resilience, but we can actually contribute to them. How? We offer programs, workplace programs that can build more on the resilience side, coaching and mentoring. So that's very important because especially sa mga direct reports or in organizations, feedback. I think feedback more than ever is needed now. And let's not forget that physical activity programs matter. Let's remember when we define health, we look at it, it's not only physical health. There's a mental health component and a social component into it. Next slide. And let's promote previous slide. Anyway, on the previous slide, it stated that we have to promote um, facilitation and early help seeking. How do we do that? In some companies that we have worked with, they have employee assessment or employee assistance programs rather. So they encourage their employees to kind of identify already that their stress level from the start and encourage help seeking. So that brings me back on my previous slide that we have to start to destigmatize the act of seeking support and well-being checks or health screening that should be included aside from the annual physical exams given, and of course appropriate response to traumatic incidents. So I know of a company that is very proactive whenever someone passes away that's part of the team. So yung mga ganong mga plans for the employees, it actually helps them um, feel safe, not only physically but ang parang may help na pwede nila takbuhan kapag kailangan talaga. Next slide. And we also acknowledge that there are workers who have been really affected. Pre-pandemic, tapos nagkaroon ng pandemic, mas na-trigger. And so we also offer support for those who are recovering or from mental illness. How do we do that? Very crucial ang role ng supervisor. And then I hope all workplaces have return to work programs, meaning to say, hindi mo naman papapasukin agad yung isang empleyado. You have a program for them so they don't get, hindi silang ngarag agad kapag pumapasok sila. And individual placement and support, that's IPS for individuals with severe mental illness. Of course, after clearance from their attending physicians and after involving everyone. So let's support them instead of stigmatizing them and discriminating them. Next slide. And early referral also is very important and support to employees at risk. Again, I highly encourage workplaces to have support groups also. You may start it by volunteers. I'm pretty sure in a company there's one or two mental health advocates there. You may want to tap into them, train them to be peer counselors, and tap into other networks that can provide counseling and enhance social support as well for those doing remote work. Because setup ngayon, it's work from site and work from home. So really, it has to have a balance, no, between two. And again, provision of reasonable accommodation. Next slide. In providing treatment, no, I have again encountered companies who have extended help in terms of their health card insurance covering uh, half of counseling services, etc. Maybe again tap into third-party networks to provide teleconsults and employee assistance program. So ano siya it's really something that's two-way in the workplace. It's the employee and the employers at the same time should help each other cope kasi lahat naman tayo, we are experiencing difficulty in one level or the other. Next slide. And hindi mawawala yung sustaining and increasing more of awareness in terms of mental health and to reduce stigma. So how do we do that? Monthly webinars, distributing infographics, providing curated libraries where the employees can access credible sources for their mental health needs. So we shouldn't stop from just one talk about mental health. Um, I I really also believe that it should really form part of the whole strategic plan when it comes to workplace wellness. That's right. So that ends my slide for this afternoon. Thank you again, and back to you, Pizza.
Hello, ayun nga po. Yes po, sobrang agree and nakaka-relate po ako, Doc, lalo na po sa frequent communication. Kasi sa workplace talaga ngayon sobrang nakaka-stress, tapos dagdag pa po yung init, di ba? Lahat po ng, um,
Yeah, that's
pati po
true.
yung social factors and other
Uh-uh.
things. So, yes po, not to brag, but I'm really happy po that in ESME, we practice yun po yung individual placement and support, ganun. And yun po, yung sobrang, ang ganda po ng sinabi niya na let's support and understand instead of stigmatizing the
Yes, that's
employees or the
true.
workers. Yes po. So yun po. Pasok ko lang rin po kasi may recently I read this quote po from Henry Ford. He said that
Mhm.
if everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself.
Ang ganda nun. Ang
Di
ganda
ba?
nun.
Ang ganda
Acts.
nga po. Ayun po. So, thank you po, Miss Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you po
Thank
so
you,
much
Pizza.
for that wonderful and insightful presentation po. So, we have some questions po from the viewers. Okay, I'm gonna ask for the first
Sure.
one. With the pandemic making us more isolated, what resources can Filipinos use or reach out for help?
Well, there are a lot, no. I'm an advisor of Youth for Mental Health Coalition. They're very active in Facebook, and they offer a lot of webinars, no, na every week. They have self-care Sundays. I really love that yung self-care Sundays kasi sometimes we get di na natin rin alam kung anong araw, di ba? So,
Yes.
actually dito pumapasok yung um, advantage naman ng social media. There are a lot. In fact, on the chat box, siguro, where there's this site that you can actually type. These are CSOs that offer free to low cost mental health services. So bit.ly/MH services PH. That's a very, ayan, tinipe na sa chat. So I hope you make use of that list. It's evolving para naman you have something that, kunyari, you don't know where to run to. yung list na yun will actually help. So, yun, I hope that
Yes,
answers the question.
yes po, it's bit.ly/mh services ph.
Yes,
So, yes, for those who are in need of help, guys, please feel free to visit this link. Sobrang ano din po lalo na po sa panahon ngayon, kailangan po natin na maging connected with the community. Kesa,
yes,
'di ba po kasi 'pag more isolated ka, mas mafe-feel mo na, "Shocks, it's pandemic, it's stressing me out," gano'n. Pero 'pag,
yes, that's true.
kahit na virtual, kasama mo yung, you belong with the community na makakatulong sa'tin para ma-lessen yung stress, please do so para yes, para hindi natin masyado ma-feel yung burden of whatever is happening right now. Thank you po,
Right.
Doc. Okay, for the second question po, how do you communicate efficiently with friends, family, and loved ones regarding the stress you're feeling?
You have to find your comfortable, if I may use the term, yung comfortable level mo in terms of sharing. It's not required, but in this in tips on coping, one way is to be able to talk about it. So, timingan mo rin and also ask them how they are. Kasi
Yes.
checking in with each other is actually very helpful, lalo na ngayon na we really feel, I don't know, parang lahat na lang extra, 'di ba?
Oh,
So, um, communicate just how you feel, and in return also ask them also how they are. So, para two-way yung communication.
yes po. Thank you po for that, Doc. How would you advise po introverts to manage stress? Yung mga hindi po
Oh,
kayang mag-open up, mga nahihiya po
yes.
masyado. Yes.
Well, they have activities na of course kasi I try to veer away from personality types as much as I can. Parang extrovert, introvert. I think lahat naman tayo at one point we cope in different ways. However, there are really people who are more comfortable with being alone muna. So dito ngayon papasok yung mga find your hobbies, find something also that you're happy doing. So example, establish routines. Now, kunyari, dun sa routine na yun, kasi establishing routines can give us a sense of control somehow. So dun sa routine, you may want to inject activities like physical exercise, self-care, that would kind of, parang hindi naman masyado monotonous din yung
Yes.
araw mo. So, yun, that can be something that I can suggest also for you to deal with it. And then, kung talagang kailangan mo to talk about it, then you may want to tap on a trusted friend or a family member and, really be open about it.
Yes po. I can relate po kasi ako po sobrang extrovert, sobra na po extra extroverted po ako. Pero during the pandemic po talaga parang gusto kong magkulong na lang minsan kasi parang
Yeah.
nakapagod po na, 'di ba? But yes, meron po tayong different coping mechanisms and as long as we're trying every day, we're thriving, we're coping.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
gonna
that's
be
true.
yes. So, eto naman po, how can we better adjust to major life changes, such as this pandemic?
Hmm. I think let's be self-aware first, no? Self-awareness first. Realize that not everything also is something that we can control. So I think that's one thing we have to realize. And change kasi is never easy eh. So, but it doesn't mean na hindi natin kakayanin. So we find ways to work our way through into finding our flow on how we do our work, how we relate to it, and how we can modify it. So, yun, I think that's one way. Kasi stress will always be there. The question is if it's good stress ba siya or bad. If it's bad, yun. That's already something that you might need support um, in coping with that also.
Yes po, little by little po, step by step, small steps, baby
Yes,
steps
one day
hanggang
at a time.
Yes po. Okay. Doc, in your experience po, which stress coping mechanisms have worked best for you?
A lot, no. One of them is, of course, the you have to realize that you can't like sit under your computer 8 hours a day. You also have to stand and stretch. So physical exercise is super important. You have to move at least 30 minutes, no. Self-check every day. Check on how you feel. Yung how are you naman applies to even yourself, no? And I take this extra effort also to try to get in tune with really the on how I am, taking cues on how I feel, and step by step acknowledging that kunyari, I'm tired, I'm sad, and then I seek support from others. So I think naman it all starts with them.
Right. Okay. This is not a question, but we have a comment from Mary Joyce Vicondino. My takeaway from today's session, always think that people mean well unless proven otherwise. Thank you, Dr. Season.
Thank you, Mary
Ayan.
Joyce. Yeah, totoo
Yes,
yan.
we. Mhm. Okay po, for the last question po for our topic for today, how
Mhm.
can we prioritize both our well-beings and careers?
Okay. It's really more of workplace and personal integration. Again, I'll go back to what I mentioned earlier of in terms of establishing a routine. Kasi me kasi, honestly from a personal standpoint, I don't believe kasi in balance eh. But I believe in workplace personal integration. Meaning to say, in making a routine, you can insert um, personal activities that can enhance the way you do your work. So, parang ganon. It's really more of realizing that and acknowledging that. Again, um, mental health concerns is really a mixture. It's complex. And for us to address that, we have to realize that self-care also is important. And let's all start from there and prioritize just that.
Yes, like gaya po ng sunflower, 'di ba? It doesn't take a sunflower to bloom in a day. It takes 70 days. So be patient with yourselves, guys.
Talaga ba? Ay,
Up
hindi ko alam yun.
nakita ko lang po siya. Parang may video po
Oh,
na parang ganun po
okay.
katagal na. Yes po. From ano po,
70
from
days. Okay.
seeds. Up,
Thanks,
ayun.
pizza. May trivia ako for today.
Ayun po. Thank you so much din po, Doc Gia. It was really
Thank
a pleasure
you.
to have you po today. Sobrang appreciate po namin yung time and effort niyo po to present to us and to learn from you po. We surely learned a lot from you. And I'm sure
Thank you,
our
pizza.
SME learners, yes po, thank you also po. I'm sure our SME learners are now prepared to face the challenges of stress. And before we end, Doc Gia, do you have anything you'd like to say or promote po? Like your social media?
Oh, okay. Well, don't forget, because I built this website that's padayonph.com. When you access that website, there's a list of mental health networks that you can access to. And I'd also like to, yeah, promote Youth for Mental Health Coalition. They have a lot of resources in terms of mental health. And again, please do stay safe. Again, this too shall pass, although mukhang mahaba-haba pa. But let's not lose hope as well that things will get better. So again, thank you to ESME Philippines, and thank you everyone who watched this afternoon's webinar, and I hope to see you again.
Yay, okay. For everyone who attended this webinar, all of you can get a digital certificate of your attendance. For sure, you want to get yours. If so, just head on to our website. That's www.sme.ph or click on the link that we posted in the comment section below. Make your own account and navigate to the title of the webinar that you joined in today. Before this webinar comes to a close, I would like to invite everyone who wants to learn more and increase their knowledge and skills, just visit our website. Again, that's www.esme.ph. We offer a wide range of masterclass courses Those of which you enroll, roll in based on whatever is relevant to your passion, career, and interests. Again, this is Pizza, and it has been my pleasure to host for you today. Goodbye and stay safe, guys.